going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 329. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him
E.
E, sitting here on a Thursday, sweltering Austin, Texas, bowing out of Leagues Cup last night at the hands of Toluca. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm doing all right, man. You know, that matchup last night, right? We knew it was one of the biggest games in Austin FC history, playing that Toluca team who is absolutely on fire as of late, as we talked about in the preview there, back-to-back Liga MX titles. Follow that up with a CONCACAF win as well. So they're a very talented team, and I'm damn proud of the fight that the dudes put out there last night, and damn proud of the coaching staff for the game plan and the fire to have your dudes' backs all night long. Like, I was proud of Davey and seeing him giving those refs the business at the end of the game and everything like that. And obviously a disappointing result. But I was really proud of the fight and the approach that the team took last night. And it just sucks that we couldn't have played that game all the way through with 11 men out there.
Yeah, certainly don't disagree with that, especially that last part. So we will recap last night's loss against Toluca. We got to preview Saturday night's road trip out to take on the Timbers in Portland. Also a recap and a preview in last business day. We'll clean it up with the nonsense at the end and plenty of news at the top before we get into the rest of episode 329 of the North End Podcast. Just have to remind you, as we always do, you can support the show financially for free just by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. So you toggle on auto downloads. That'll support us in that fashion going forward, and you won't have to think about it again. You can rate and review the show if you want to go that extra mile. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, as a number of folks have this week. It does help us grow the show, and you can also hit the bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here in episode 329, you hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. And E, I know we talked about this on the live stream yesterday, but all the new DP signings get their own drop on an episode. A new DP! So shout out to Matt Wallace for joining the Patreon at that DP level yesterday during our Owen Wolff stream. We'll talk more about Owen here in a moment, but just real quick, wanted to remind you all, second to last time you will hear about our August Patreon push here, coming down to the final few days. If you want to join us here in the North End, QR code to join is on the screen right now, or link to join in the description of this episode, whether you're watching on the YouTube or listening to the audio version. Everybody who joins or is already a member at that senior $5 level or DP $10 level will qualify, if they're still members, in January for our merch drop, which will include the first ever North End Podcast scarf. You will get a chance to vote on that design. We're down to 2 here in the North End, so if you wanted that chance to make your voice heard on our scarf design, you can sign up now. You'll also get in that swag bag a North End koozie, a magnet, and a sticker. You will also be entered into a new signups only giveaway. The winner of that giveaway will take home a Brad Stuver bobblehead. And of course, you'll be eligible for all the other giveaways that go on here in the North End. Just this month alone, we gave away a Violet Crown kit to one of our members. We've given away 2 separate pairs of game tickets here in the North End. And of course, the list goes on if you go back throughout this season, and certainly more giveaways planned down the road here. So if you want to join, again, QR code is on the screen or link to sign up in the description of this episode. E, are you tired of me saying all of that yet?
No, never. I did forget homeboy's name, though, while you were talking there.
Matt.
Okay. Shout out, Matt. Happy to have you, man. This push in August has been fun. And I think we're doing some cool giveaways, and it's important to us to have a community of friends and people around us with this team. And I think our Discord really does that. And a lot of good discussion going on in there, a lot of fun things happening that we do, and we try to really make it as fun as possible for everyone. So if you got somebody you know who needs some friends, come on over.
We'll be your friend.
Come on over. Team might not be great, but friendship is strong.
Yeah, and it's like a $5 friendship, so like a month. So well, I just getting, it is silly season here in MLS, so there's lots of Bogert tweets flying, and he just reported that the league has suspended Inter Miami interim head coach Guillermo Hoyos 1 game for repeatedly violating the league's late kickoff policy, which we saw first against Austin FC in person down there at New Stadium. So fuck you guys. About time.
Yeah. All distraction from the money laundering, though.
Yeah. Okay, man. Let's talk about this whirlwind news week here in the Austin FC universe. Let's start with the 2 departures that us and everybody else in the Austin FC universe were speculating on Sunday. This news came out on Monday, first from Tom Bogert. Of course, we went live shortly after that. So if you want to hear about 40 minutes on the Jayden Nelson transfer, we had some Bolton Wanderers fans wander into the live stream and catch it on the replay as well, So that was a fun time bidding farewell to our short-tenured winger here in Jayden Nelson. For those of you who missed it, Austin transferred Jayden Nelson to Bolton Wanderers in England for $1.1 million guaranteed, and Austin could receive up to $1.225 million in performance-based add-ons. Austin FC also retains a sell-on percentage of any potential future transfer involving Jayden Nelson. So, is there anything else you wanted to follow up on here, wrapping up that Jayden Nelson transfer?
Just super disappointed in this outcome, man. I was really excited about Jayden Nelson. I don't think Jayden Nelsons grow on trees. I think finding a player like that was something we were incredibly excited about. And I understand that the changes that were made to the coaching staff and the management team phased Jayden Nelson out. And that sucks because, like I said, Jayden Nelson is an impact player. He doesn't grow on trees, man. It was hard to find someone like this and to not get essentially anything out of him for at least one season is a real disappointment. I'm happy we recouped basically what we paid for him, but still just a real bummer.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like from that North End roster building perspective, like I'm fairly satisfied that we got guaranteed 90% of our investment back on that original transfer. Like things like this can certainly go more south than they did, both with the butting of the heads in public and certainly in the locker room or on the practice field. And then on this side as well, just the numbers side here as we're trying to give the new regime as much flexibility, cap room, extra funds, right? All of that we're trying to provide for them. So, then the second move, which, again, we were far from the only ones to say, oh, this is probably Jayden Nelson and CJ Fodrey, but we were the ones that were able to report the destination here for CJ being loaned to Falkirk FC in the Scottish Premier League, and Austin in this loan deal does retain a recall option in January 2027. So if we feel like it is better for CJ and or the club to be here in Central Texas with us during the sprint season, he will be. And if not, the loan is a year-long loan and does not include a purchase option. So this is not goodbye, CJ. It's you need minutes at a good level. And the way our striker rotation is right now, those minutes are not here. You get many more minutes. At least that's what I'm hoping as a fan. And I don't think that the team and the player would agree to this move if there wasn't, at least in the plans, for him to play a significant amount more over here with Falkirk. And I also will point out, looking at Falkirk's schedule when we were told that it was the destination, the 2 Scottish Premier League teams that I know are Celtic and Rangers, right? Yep. The 2 massive teams in Scotland. Who are Falkirk's opponents? I think Saturday and Wednesday, Celtic and Rangers. So if CJ's able to, I imagine they're still working through visa stuff. I hope all of that gets done so he can hit the pitch for these guys. It's not like he needs a preseason. Guy's in the middle of his season. He's ready to go. So being able to see CJ hit the ground running over there in Scotland would be ideal, to be sure. I also have already looked into how you can watch Falkirk matches. I believe if you get the Falkirk specific streaming package, which I think is available through their site, it's like maybe more than $20 a month. So I don't know if I'm biting the bullet on that. There are select SPL matches on Paramount Plus, which are mostly Celtics and Rangers matches. So let's get this paperwork going because I want to watch some CJ this weekend.
Yeah, dude. Long live Buff streams, man. That's for sure. Look,
Lord Buff.
Lord Buff. I feel not opposite about this situation than I do with the Jayden, but I am really, really excited for CJ here.
Yeah.
I think this is a wonderful opportunity, not only for him as a soccer player, but for as a young man to get over there and experience Scotland. And everyone has dreams of playing your favorite sport at the highest level, but being able to travel the world doing what you love by kicking a fucking ball around is just, it's such a life accomplishment. And I am so happy for CJ to get this opportunity to hopefully, like you said, get some more minutes, develop. And like you said, this is not a goodbye for him. So I hope that he's able to go over there, hit the ground running, and really just soak all of this up. That he's I think it's awesome. I really do. And that's coming more so from hey, young man, go have some fun over there, learn, explore, adventure, play some soccer, develop, and then we'll welcome you back here with open arms. I'm incredibly excited and happy for CJ. And I think a lot of the fan base, despite being upset that he is not going to be with us for this amount of time here, are really happy for him.
Yeah, and I think also for me, it was a surprise. The one thing we definitely were not guessing on Sunday's episode was that he would be going anywhere but USL, right? And I'm totally with you with the life experience part that he's going to get. Dude, CJ's still super young, I think, compared to maybe where most people think he is. He doesn't turn 23 until February. So we could start the sprint season and he's still 22 years old. So he's a year younger than Jorge. He's 3 years younger than Danny. Yeah. So he is still got plenty of room and years to grow here. So again, I think this makes sense for all involved. And we haven't been doing the greatest keeper in the world segment because Damien's been back with us. I think CJ, maybe we need Alistair McAllister to record us a drop here.
That'd
to
be
check
great.
in on CJ over there. So we'll hit Pete up here.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, man, I'm all smiles for CJ here, man. Go get him.
And the last piece of news, at least on the player personnel side, also drew a live stream on Wednesday. And this was certainly the most unexpected and surprising move. But again, I don't think that the fan base as a whole is all too upset at this, Ian. We got those reactions live on the live stream, both in the comments and with the poll that we ran there with those who joined us live on our YouTube channel. For those that missed it, Austin FC traded Owen Wolff to Sporting KC, and that deal was $4.5 million guaranteed. It's a cash for player trade plus up to $3.1 million in performance-based add-ons. This is already, with the guaranteed $4.5 million, the largest cash return for a U22 initiative player in the history of the rule. So we went a little bit longer on this one yesterday. I think a little over an hour on the Owen Wolff traded live stream. So I'll save everybody from just repeating all of my thoughts from yesterday. Not the way, I thought it was going to go, but again, when you just look at it, you strip it down to the return, I think you have to be happy about it. And we're 24 plus hours away from this move right now, Ian. I don't feel any different than I did yesterday.
Yeah, I'm still really upset about this, man. And for a large part of that is for how this played out and how this went down. Clearly there was some stuff going on between management and Owen. We talked about the delay of the surgery on the live stream and everything. And if you want a real in-depth look at like what we were really breaking down and talking about, I definitely recommend checking that out. But this one stings, man. You know, I saw the comments today on Verde Nation from the SKC new management talking about how this was one of the players highest on their list. And then I jump on, you know, some of the social channels and I see some complete fucking bozos talking about Owen Wolff having half a decent season in his entire career here in Austin. Okay, you know, half a decent season, just the third highest goal contributions for a season in Austin FC history, I guess is just half a season. Kid was a stud. I hope he continues to develop. I'm going to really fucking miss him. And again, another guy that I was just excited about potentially being in this Jim Curtin diamond and being a part of this franchise moving forward. So this one really hurts. This one stings. I'm really going to miss Owen, man.
Yeah. And obviously I'm with you, right? I said like this surpasses any player from an emotional standpoint, how much I liked the player and thought it would play out differently. This is my least favorite departure of any player, surpassing Sebastian Driussi for me. Not by much, don't worry. Okay. But yeah, I mean, again, it's just, it's the fact that you got, it's Sporting bowled us over, it feels like, with a number we just couldn't refuse, especially with how his value has not increased since his breakout season last year.
Yeah, for sure. And he's banged up right now. Like he is dealing with an ankle injury. You know, whether we were being super cautious with him or not, he is hurting right now. They even brought that up there.
Yep.
You know, and look, right, like again, once we have all the specifics of how this money is going to be utilized, what type of player is replacing Owen Wolff on the roster, we can gauge it a little more. But like, if you're Jim Curtin and KEA here, man, the runway has been set for y'all to come in here and make the fucking team that you specifically want. And the pressure is on, in my opinion, now, because all of these departures have hurt. We're talking about Danny. We're talking about Owen. We're talking about Jayden. We're obviously excited about the CJ move, but like the pressure's on, in my opinion, because you guys got as clean of a slate. And I don't know if we're done as we could possibly have here. So we'll see what how it plays out. But I think the pressure's on for these guys. We got rid of some of our most beloved players for y'all.
Absolutely. And I mean, when we were back, you know, pre-World Cup break, when we were talking about like how many guys on this roster have that value where other teams would come and want to buy them, like Danny, Owen, Jayden were like 3 of the 5.
Yep. Joe Rowe, B-Roo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So anything else for you on Owen?
Gonna miss you, man. Make us proud.
I'm with you, except when you see us across the pitch. So don't hurt us. Come on.
Yeah, you know Sabo's going to tag him.
Yeah. Well, let's talk KEA presser here just for a few minutes, because Austin's new chief soccer officer was introduced on Tuesday at Q2 Stadium. Presser, you know, couple hype videos, some other photos around the stadium and such. Khaled El-Ahmad, I think, and like I feel like I'm borderline like offensive fucking accent from me here, dude.
KEA's fine.
I'm going to continue with KEA for the most part, but I'm gonna keep working on that. And I think maybe like with Bukhari or like Alstway, right? Like I need to get the pronunciation drop on here just to stand in for me. Let KEA do it himself instead of me embarrassing myself continuously for hopefully a long tenure here. Some of the takeaways for me from that press conference surprised me with the Spanish. And now some Spanish speakers I saw discussing it said like the Spanish was like a little broken and he made some mistakes, but like that surprised me coming out of him, right? Guy born in Lebanon, right? War refugee, grew up in Sweden, comes over to the United States, and I think he was flexing like a 1,500-day long Duolingo streak with Spanish. So like answered a couple questions in apparently broken Spanish, etc. You know, I think it's you know our fan base. I think that's a good way to endear yourself to a fan base that is largely, I feel like, largely bilingual. So I thought that was a positive.
Yeah, Get some good players in here. I don't care what language you speak.
Well, I also thought, right, you open up the presser. KEA was flanked by club CEO Andy Loughnane and majority owner Anthony Precourt. But it was Loughnane who, his opening statements to me were fairly thinly veiled criticisms of the previous regime, mostly Rodolfo Borrell, right? Because we heard a lot about the lack of collaboration in that among that team of the front office led by Rodolfo Borrell. And it's so, again, it just seemed like a couple shots being taken there as we complete this transition. KEA also said that he actually played against Jim Curtin in 2001, I believe, because, right, KEA was a collegiate player at that point. And said that he nutmegged him back in that 2001. I don't know if that was a friendly or a competitive collegiate match or what was going on there, but he did bring that up. And then there was also a question asked. I don't remember who asked this question to KEA, but the question about communication with Jim Curtin was immediately, I think I brought this up on the Owen stream, immediately shut down by Anthony Precourt. And then also in that press release, right, the official press release gives us the information that it wasn't just Dean Costales as the point person for this summer's moves, like Tom Bogert reported, but that it's Andrew Delalo and Ethan Finley as the kind of 2 and the 3 there in terms of that interim sporting committee making all of these decisions. And over the last couple of days, man, I had somebody who I definitely would know these things and hear these things from people who are around a guy like Ethan Finley, that Ethan Finley might be a future sporting director in this league. And if that's the vibe that people around the club are getting from Ethan Finley, I think it's definitely not hindering us to have somebody that's geared that direction on this team because of how long he's been here, being on both sides as a player and now a member of the front office. As long as Ethan Finley is around and a part of this team with KEA, Costales, and Delalo, it seems like a decent, and to what they were really emphasizing in the presser, a collaborative effort between these guys to try to take Austin FC to its first trophies.
Yeah, Ethan's a sharp guy. I believe that for sure. I'm just picturing KEA with his little resume applying for the job, and it's just like nutmeg Jim Curtin, Oh, okay. In control of all aspects of my life, the day-to-day. But I'm excited for him, man. I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder. Sure. I think he wants to prove something. And maybe Rodo had too big of a chip on his shoulder when we got here, so he didn't get the whole boisterous, super loud, confident kind of press conference and intro that we got with Rodo there when he was really making his mark. But to your points about the thinly veiled stuff, man, this has been a very unceremonious exit and departure for Rodolfo Borrell, and the more stuff that's coming out about this situation doesn't sound great, man.
Yeah, dude, it's one thing to have the resume you do as somebody like that and stand on it, but also realize that the job you took is not the one you're coming from or have ever been in. So I think that, that certainly played a role there. And I'm sure more stuff will continue to come out over the coming months and potentially years about his tenure here. Anything else for you overall on all of the news this week?
A lot of changes, moving in a new direction here. I know it's hard to get super excited about because it's going to be a struggle and a battle to finish out this season. But again, an ownership group that, in my opinion, has routinely displayed that they are willing to spend and they are willing to take risks and chances to try to get that first trophy for this club. And I do applaud them for that. And we move forward. We ride.
So getting into last night's quarterfinal match against Toluca E, that lineup drops disturbingly late. Typically we get that lineup about an hour before kick, and I want to say it was like 6:50 Central Time. So about 40 minutes from scheduled kickoff. We know kickoff comes a little bit later than advertised, but the two things that jump out right away, dude, 2 DPs on the bench.
Yep. And immediately it's with everything that's happened, right? If you're seeing guys that we think are routine starters, you're immediately like, we shopping him or are we moving him?
Yeah.
But then, I sat and I kind of looked at it, right? And as we mentioned, this was one of the largest games in club history. And right now, I would be hard pressed to be like, if I'm trying to win one fucking game, that I'm starting Brandon Vasquez over Christian Ramirez right now. And then the same can potentially be said about Facu here. I think that's a little bit more of a difficult argument, given the fact that he had also just scored his first goal in, 28 fortnights the other night.
What's the math on that?
A long fucking time. But I get the Ramirez over BV. I really do, particularly with what we saw the play style was going to be almost immediately in the start of this game, where it's like, yo, we are going to shit house, we're going to guard, and we're going to try to hold this ball up or as long as we possibly can before we just get it the fuck out of the zone and try to drag this team, Toluca that is, to a 0-0 or to a 1-1 draw or something.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the right move by Davey, and I do give him a lot of credit for it. And I think up until one of the most boneheaded moments in Austin FC history, this team was settling into that heel kind of role. And sometimes when you're not as talented as the other club, which we definitely are not as talented as Toluca, you have to lean into that to give yourself a chance. So I thought the Ramirez call was the right move. And I think potentially from a defensive standpoint, not having Facu out there was the right call for this game plan.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with the idea that neither of those two are in your best 11 right now based on everybody's form and such. But also it just says so much that we're so short-handed. The three players we just got rid of, and again, I know that they haven't been playing much, but even without those guys, you're still sitting two of the DPs. I don't think right now that either of those guys are in danger. And again, I don't even know if I would consider it danger, because I think I would welcome a DP departure just for the indication of further movement at the top of the roster.
Yeah.
It's not whether or not I think that that's a good idea, which I agree with you that was I had no problems with the lineup as it was constructed. It just says a lot, and it's not good.
I 100% agree. And, of all the moves that have been made as of late, we still got to figure out that DP situation, because if you're not playing right now, and with the lack of bodies that we have out there, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're not making an impact on the team.
Yeah, and with Irvin out there in the Facu spot, right? Because you got Sabo and Ilie as that defensive midfield pairing. I was hopeful that no Facu, maybe it's Rosales on the left, but this game gets underway, and it is Rosales on the right with Johnny G on the left. So we'll pick this one up in the 10th minute, because if this was a Toluca pod, we would have many more notes about close calls and good shots and good progressive breaks and such. But first 10 minutes is all Toluca. Multiple dangerous attempts, go just wide. Helinho is making his presence known, Vega, etc. Here's a 4-on-2 break for Toluca as they enter Austin's final third. And some great work here by Azuni to get back and cover the backside here on the right? This diagonal defensive recovery by Azuni. Ultimately, he draws a foul and ends the danger. And this is here on this free kick. We get the second giant P chant from the crowd of entirely Toluca fans. Looked like there was maybe 8 or 9 Austin fans there together. But it's just like we said after the America game, dude. Leagues Cup has no real interest in penalizing anyone for that. And we also, around this time, get our first glimpses of their coach, Antonio Mohamed.
Oh, my God.
Eccentric. We'll say that.
I bought a cell phone from that dude in New York City in 2006. Didn't work. Look, man, you're under a lot of heat to start this game, right?
Yeah.
I remember looking early. I had the FOTMob app open while we're watching this game together. And I think you take 6 shots within the first 20, 25 minutes of this game.
I think it was 9 in the first 20, and Toluca had the first 8.
Okay, so a lot. You're a lot. And to be expected. This is a more talented club than we have. Get rid of the fucking salary cap in MLS so we can do cool shit. like this. But it was clear almost immediately that this was going to be a full-on shithousery display from Austin FC. I mean, arguing every call, holding up the game, wondering, am I going to take this throw? And is this dude going to take this throw? And taking our sweet time, fouling, sitting back in this low block and everything like that. And I do think you frustrated them a little bit. But still, it was just hard to generate anything because they also were carving you up. Like it wasn't just it wasn't just like, oh, we're sitting back and clearing stuff. There's passes, there's movement coming along, like that left-footed shot from Paulinho. I think Alexi Vega is very involved in what's going on at this point in time. So they're a good team, man. I tip my hat to them for that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the first 20 minutes, there was no way I thought we were going to escape even that first half scoreless. But here in the 20th minute, Austin earns a throw in near side to the broadcast camera in the Toluca half. It's Irvin taking it quickly to Ilie, who nods it forward. It's right into the path of Izuni. And he just tries to hit it on frame with the outside of his boot, but it takes a deflection out for a corner kick. Toluca clears that Sabovic service out for a second corner, but even on that second corner, nothing doing for Austin. But just 3 minutes later, John Gallagher has some space to the right of net, just above the 18. On the run, he's got a defender closing down on him. As that happens, he pops just like a hopeful ball towards the back post on the left, but it's knotted out for another Austin corner here. This time it's Sabovic playing it short to Rosales, who's over there on the left this time, and he's able to whip a ball in low with his left on the end line. Taking a deflection, and like for a moment, this ball is rolling slowly by the penalty spot. And I think everybody where we were watching last night, huh!
Yeah.
And then it's Toluca able to clear it. But Austin stays in possession. They earn yet another corner here after the 20-minute mark. That one's also defended successfully by Toluca, but our guys really settled into this match after the hectic first 15 or 20.
Absolutely, and you would have needed one of ththese moments from a guy like Mirtu, or just like, okay, we're going to need a spectacular goal here. And for what it's worth, I thought this would have been a really nice attempt with the banana kick there if it's not deflected by a Toluca player. But we were going to need something scrappy and kind of lucky and fortunate, I think, to get on the board here. And to your point about these corners going into the zone, they're in dangerous areas. And like if you have a good bounce or someone's in a different spot at the right time, you could have stole one here, because I do think you settled in to this game after the initial kind of blitz, like, oh fuck, these guys are chopping us up right now.
It's 29th minute, yellow card to Sabovic for pulling back on a Toluca player, and in a vacuum, of course, easy yellow card. But it is wild that this was given as a caution after what hasn't been called so far. Filip Dujic had been letting both teams play, and especially Toluca. There are two identical Toluca fouls in the first 25 minutes that were not deemed yellow card worthy. And to my recollection, this was Sabovic's first foul of anything of the sort. And it's right to your pocket. And Sabovic and then Ilie, and I think maybe even Hindsight, come in and say the same things. And they're absolutely right. This is the first in a long list of poor calls by the head official last night, in my opinion. I don't think he necessarily changed the outcome of the game. We can get into that in a moment. But here, it was like, this is just blatantly obvious, man. Like, if you have any sort of consistency, this is a warning at worst.
This is piss poor officiating. Like, on the rewatch today, this is horrible officiating. And I know that this dude is good. I know that he gets big games. I know that he is one of the better refs that we've seen and stuff like that. But like, this is piss poor officiating, because how are you expecting the players to know how to play this game when this play has happened twice, one time to Sabovic? So when he gets all upset about this, absolutely, dude, you I was shocked that he went to his pocket on this call, because two plays have happened where it's the same fucking thing. And if you're not calling it, you're not calling it, and let's play. And like we've talked about really poor calls in the past that are, potentially one-off kind of judgment things. We obviously have the Torrey Penso beef and everything, but this is just piss poor officiating and inexcusable, and sets the tone for the rest of this game for Austin FC to be like, fuck you, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 2 minutes later where Mirtu Azuni receives a pass on the run headed towards the Toluca penalty area, and he plays it around the Toluca defender to his right and tries to get around the defender to his left to try to keep up with that ball. Contact is made. Mirtu goes down. There's no foul call. I said it in the moment, I wanted to stay up there because while I understand selling the call, of course, I think he could have gotten to that if he fights through the contact and potentially scored. So again, like I understand, especially with what was just called. Okay, now we're going to call yellows for fouls like this. He does go down easy. Again, I think he could have done better there to just try to fight through.
Yeah, I think he had a real attempt to go get that ball. And to your point, if he tries to fight through that contact and like work his way there, could have had an attempt. I don't necessarily know if this is a foul. Like there is some bit of obstruction going on here. He does go down relatively easy. I know the Verde Pendant boys want some blood though. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. It's the 34th minute here. Austin counterattacking chance. After Mirtu takes the ball right off a Toluca player at midfield, he ushers it out to Irvin on his right before getting it right back from the kid on an underlapping run that's got Azuni with some space to the right of net inside the 18, and he pulls a shot cross back across his body. This one trickles out for a goal kick, and John Gallagher was on the backside, and I thought should have probably been crashing the net regardless here. I also understand if Gallagher thinks he's going to shoot there and is hanging back to try to maybe poach a rebound that pops out to that backside. So either way, Austin gets nothing out of this, and it seemed to me like either that was a very bad shot by Mirtu or he was just kind of in between what he wanted to do.
You know, and these are moments that we've seen in the past with John Gallagher where he's on his horse and he's busting his ass and he's getting to one of these far post balls and like trying to put something on frame here. I wasn't entirely sure what it was either, but I was a little surprised that Johnny wasn't up in that position. But when you look at the tape in the game and the game state, it was very much about Johnny and those wing backs really not getting fully extended because we were playing that defensive role. But then Joseph Rosales says, fuck all that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's the 38th here where nearing the half still scoreless. And I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes before I was like, dude, like over a half hour in here. No, we've felt like feeling good.
Yeah, feeling great.
And Stuver boots one here way downfield. And it's just a foot race between the center back Pereira and Joro. And Pereira wins the ball. Rosales slides in, catches him on the boot. Foul called, yellow card immediately shown. But then that first and you can see the Toluca guys are immediately calling for the straight red. In the first replay they show, I said I think that's a red. It does go to VAR. Dujic goes over to the monitor, and it's overturned to a straight red. And like I said in the moment, I thought it looked like a red on the first replay. I still don't think I'm that upset about the red being called because of how unnecessary and reckless the challenge was. And how kind of fucking random it was that you felt like and I know like emotions are running high there, especially with how physical some of those guys had been with Rosales through the first almost 40 minutes. But then I also agree with some of the help of our buddy Logan, who's like, here's the rule book, right? And you also hear the color commentator on the broadcast say, Rosales doesn't get him high. He gets him on the boot. And that's absolutely true. Either way, the red card is showed, and we're screwed now, man. And ultimately, lucky to get into the half still scoreless, because now we're funky. Mirtu's over there playing left wing back to close out the half.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most boneheaded, unnecessary, stupid, selfish plays, whatever you want to call it, in the history of this team, man. And I'm not saying Austin FC gets a result and advances versus Toluca if Joe Rowe plays 90 minutes in this game, but you sure as shit stole the opportunity from the fans and from your teammates to potentially find a way
to go at it full strength.
Yes. And like potentially just find a way and have your chance and potentially have your moment to do something fucking cool. And like you absolutely screwed us. This game is over after this happens. There is just no way you can play the way you were playing with 10 men. And I know that you've brought, we're talking at halftime. You're like, it's happened before in the history of mankind.
Look, I said plenty of times a worse team than what we had out there last night
Yeah.
has held a better team than one that we were playing scoreless for 45 minutes. That was my case at the half.
Yeah. I'm just so mad at Joe about this. And, we love the dude. He's one of the best players.
He's your current favorite player.
He's been fantastic. Whoa. Yeah, man.
Okay. He's the new hotness for you.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, but this is just it's so unnecessary. What are you doing? And I said to you while we're watching, it was like, these are one of those games where like you might actually need to pull, like have a red in your back pocket because we've defended for 85 minutes and there's a breakaway now and the game is in the waning moments and like, we're gonna do whatever we can.
No extra time.
Yeah. So this is just horrible by Joe. And I don't know why he's so upset. I was just like flabbergasted at the moment. Like, why is he so frustrated? And like, they were being physical, but like, man, incredibly disappointing. You really hurt your brothers last night by doing that.
It is maybe the one negative that I recall from Minnesota fans who were saying, when Austin fans were asking in various forums what to expect from the player, the one negative that stood out was like losing his temper, right? I think they pointed out the red card he got that was completely unnecessary in game 1 of their first round series against the Sounders last year. I saw fans, again, whether they were right or not, I saw a couple Loons fans at that time pointing to the Rosales red card for screwing them out of a first round series. Yeah. I don't know 100% about that in his time with the Loons, of course, but like he definitely did that here. I'm with you, man. Like you can't do that. You hurt your team badly last night.
Yeah. And like, if we're going by the letter of the law, maybe this isn't a red card, but you just can't put yourself and your fate of the rest of the game into a ref's hands with an unnecessary and stupid challenge. We're in their half. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's no threat on. You're by yourself, and we are on the front foot at that point.
Exactly. This is the best. We had a little stretch of form where it was like the best you've looked in since the start of this game. So horrible, man. Really bad decision.
Well, coming out of the half, we're sitting there debating how do you sub guys in, move guys around here, and I think we actually ended up after a couple tries coming to the same conclusion that the coaching staff did. It took us a little bit longer there. It is Mikel Dessler in for Christian Ramirez, shifting John Gallagher over to left wing back and having Mirtu Azuni up top here. 48th minute, Austin, decent build up here in this moment. Again, a man down, but it's Dessler's first turn on the ball. He makes, I'll call it a wayward pass because he's my guy, back. That starts a 5-on-5 break for Toluca going the other way, and it's Helinho playing Vega through here on a diagonal run into the 18, and BHI follows him all the way across on that diagonal run over to block that shot out for a corner, and I thought Heinzike had another good one, man.
He did. He fought. All the guys fought after this moment with Joe Rowe happens, and as I led off this episode with, I was damn proud of the effort and the fight to go out there, especially with everything that was going on with the team. You just lost. Yeah. We're getting the leaks about, sad goodbyes in the locker room and everything. The season has gone the way it's gone. I put it in the Discord. It took a lot of heart. I think I use a different word to go out there last night and lace them up and go toe to toe with the best team in North America right now.
Yeah. Well, it's Toluca's next possession after that corner was cleared out. They're back on the ball, and Vega finds Helinho checking back to the ball at the top of the box, and Helinho just quick one-touch flick on behind the line into the path of Angulo. And Svatak's battling him here, at first cleanly, as the two go to ground chasing this ball inside the 18, but then grabs hold of Angulo's shirt as the Toluca player makes a second effort, and that's where, on the replay, it's a clear pen. Very tough to see from the broadcast angle, but evident on the replay. Stuver also looked like he took a shot right in the Bengal here. I saw some people saying maybe a knee. I thought it was a nut shot. Regardless, he looked like he was legit hurting here. And, of course, after the antics that lead up to these types of penalty kicks, it's Helinho going to Stuver's left. And Brad Guess is right. Gets a mid on it. But that ball glances off his glove and still goes past him for the Toluca lead. 1-0. Yeah,
and all hope is kind of evaporated at this point. Now you're down a man, down a goal here. And I think it's a PK. Like you said, the final kind of pull on that jersey, the tug, you see the reaction from Angulo there. And it was tough, man. Like Svatov's battling there. He's fighting.
Yeah. I don't really blame him for that at all. 'Cause I think if he doesn't pull on Angulo probably just scores.
You might have gotten away with it, and maybe we could have got a save out of Brad, something miraculous or something. But like this, obviously,
which we do down the stretch. I mean,
yeah,
this does nothing but turn Brad the fuck up, dude.
For sure,
because he was incredible.
For sure.
It's the 59th minute, where in the notes, Brad certainly doesn't do anything but turn up after that. Here's Stuvino comes out on Federico Viñas, gives him the little okey doke in his own 18, and 2 minutes later, Toluca finds space in a dangerous area here as Garcia finds Helinho to the right of net, and he puts a powerful shot on frame from about 12 yards out that Stuver pushes up and over the bar. It was a very good save there by Brad, and it's 4 minutes later. Helinho again here. He's on the ball. Just an awesome pass right up the gut through Austin's defense, and just magnet to the foot of Vega, who is one on Stuver from 6 yards out. And Brad just makes the save of the night here. Yeah. 1-on-1 point blank. It should have been 2-0, and Brad keeps it out.
Yep, stunning. And like this would have been one of the components that you were going to need to try to find a result in this game if you don't go down a man. We knew you were going to get peppered with shots. 74 shots in their 3 games leading up to this matchup. 40 versus Seattle. So like you knew you were going to get bombarded here, and like we knew that Brad was going to have to come up huge, and in these moments he did, man. And again, a testament to the continued fight of the team, even though you're down a man, to be like, yeah, we believe, let's go do this.
It's just a minute later as Toluca's right back at it again. This time it's Vega working on Dessler to the left of the 18, and Vega drops it back. Toluca whips it left to right, where Garcia plays it back towards the top of the box, and Castro pings one on frame at the near post. Down low, Stuber gets down to his left to block it away, and then Castro gets a yellow a few seconds after, and Austin can take a moment to breathe after that corner, but who boy, man. And then you also get Shimmy and Jorge in for Galley and Ilie, and fucking Buddy on the call is calling Shimmy Plaqueta.
Hey, indeed he is. We liked the subs out of the half. I thought this was the right move. You get Dessler in for Ramirez there. You shift Azuni up to be kind of that weird pit bull role because he's playing more defensive, in this second half with the lineup. And then I thought these two, I think I would have wanted to keep Johnny on just because we know the level of endurance that he has in a matchup like this, but can't be too upset with either of these subs. Some more offensive minded players coming out there, so Davey throwing caution to the wind a little bit. So I salute it.
Yeah, which you have to do in a knockout competition where you're down one with less than a half hour to go and down a man. Like Shemi for Galley made 100% sense to me because fresh legs, and who's more goal dangerous? I know that Shemi hasn't scored yet, but like it is 77 for me. And it's the 73rd minute here where there's an awesome ball from Irvin right from the midfield floating to the edge of the 18 on the left. It's over the head of the nearest defender, right to the boot of Biru, who cushions it down, winds up for a shot before going down. Ball goes out for a corner. Guilherme is livid. There's not a penalty awarded here. And in my opinion, we don't get a great look at this on any of the replays. They certainly don't slow it down for us like they were doing on the Rosales foul. Davey gets a yellow card. Then Ilie is just motherfucking Victor Rivas, who was the 4th official last night. And Ilie gets tossed, and Austin's not able to do anything with the corner. And after rewatching those replays that they showed this morning a few times, I don't think there's anything you can see from those angles to overturn it. And I also don't think it was like watching it live. Did it look funky? Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's really hard to make a case for a pen there that like we're getting hard done based on the other penalty. Like I don't buy into that. Obviously we have the benefit of being at home and not being in the heat of the moment as a player or coach, and we get to see the replays, but I can totally see how over the 75-ish minutes that have elapsed and the way this game was officiated, how inconsistent it was.
Yeah.
That those guys are all pissed. I don't fault them for that.
No, not at all. Salute to Davey, giving Victor Rivas fucking hell on the sideline. Salute to Ilie. Because again, we knew that Austin FC was going to have to try to condense this game by moaning to the ref about almost everything. But like, you go back to that yellow card to Sabovic, and that is now we're angry. Like Ilya was upset and angry at that moment. Sabovic is angry. Davies angry. Heinzike is angry in that moment. And it's like, it goes right back to you making a piss poor decision. And I love the emotion from Ilya getting thrown out here. Yeah, I think you got to try to find a way to get a call. But I'm not sure. I don't know. Guilherme wouldn't scuff something that bad if you didn't get fouled.
Surely not. Trio of sub windows used here. First, a double change for Toluca. It's Guzman and Diaz in for Castro and Vega. Then 2 minutes later on the Austin side, it's BV and Facu coming in. Two DPs coming in with 12 minutes to go, for Sabo and Irvin. And the 81st, just Lopez in for Angulo on the opposite side. And then a yellow card to Garcia in the 84th for a hard challenge on Facu. And off that free kick, we see Stuver come up and take this like we're 2025 Minnesota on these set pieces here. Which we kind of are. KEA now our sporting director, but he slides it out to Dessler instead of pinging this one long just inside the Toluca half. So Mikel puts a great ball in towards the back post on the left where Heinzike rises up. He's alone, heads it up and out for a goal kick. That was it, dude. That was the chance.
Yep, for sure. And like, this is a fantastic ball from Dessler, and another moment where just BHI is like, I want this more than you. And like, again, just coming back to the giant hill that was Toluca at full strength, and then the almost impossible challenge of climbing that hill while it's now lubricated because you're down a man here. And like BHI fighting and just like getting to this ball. I was really proud of the dudes last night, man. And it would have taken a lot to get a win here, but great ball, good fight all the way through here.
89th minute, Stuver up to boot another long free kick into the area. That one headed away to the top of the box where Shimmy hits it on the half volley, but up and over the bar. He's going to bang one of those in at some point in his tenure here, you would think, but not to be. As we go to stoppage, there's 6 minutes given. Second minute, Dessler gets into it with, I forget which player over there on the far sideline, but I'm still wondering what Buddy said to set Mikel off like that. And of course, a couple pieces of trash thrown Dessler's way on that side. 4th minute of stoppage. The easiest call of the night is when you blow a whistle on a foul and the guy who was whistled for the foul boots the ball into the stands. It's a yellow card. It's just flat out wrong officiating. It is shitty of it. Like, and BHI comes up and tells Dujic, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you blind?
We're screaming in the moment, right? Just because this is heinous.
It doesn't change anything, but like, it is the most basic elementary thing for any team sport, any sport ever where there's an official. Yeah. It's just misconduct. What are you doing?
Unreal, and like, can we play with this anger and this edge that we seem to play with versus Liga MX teams and just not versus MLS teams? Yeah. Because like, again, going back, those dudes tried to punk us plenty of times last night. They did get you, Joe Rowe, but like the other guys, we weren't tolerating that shit. Dessler in that moment, like you talked about, Ilya's running his mouth all game, Sabovic being physical, that Guilherme-Helinho matchup was fucking awesome all night long. And then once again, Guilherme willing to die on the field to try to win last night. And love the guy. I'm getting the jersey custom. Like, he's
all right.
I got the one Seba. He's in the ranks now. We're putting him in the hall because he just battles, man. But like, fuck you, Dujic. What are we doing?
Yeah. Again, it's like not going to change anything. But come on, man. Come on,
dude. Especially with all the antics and bullshit that they did all night long.
You're not doing yourself or anybody any favors by missing. Like, that is. Anyways, 5th minute of stoppage. It gets wild here near the end.
Yeah.
Stuver boots that free kick, again from his own half, into the Toluca 18. Austin wins the second ball, works it back out to Alistue, who lofts it back into the 18, pinged around a couple times, before being played back to Stuver, who then takes the ball himself from midfield to about 30 yards from net. And dude, Brad plays a nice little ball over the top here to the head of Svatak, who nods it back into the path of Facu, and Torres rises up to meet it with his head, and that headed attempt is deflected out to earn a corner. Brad stays up there, so we're crossing our fingers for the Brad equalizer here.
Yeah.
Facu takes that corner. It gets nodded back into the scrum from that back post, and for a moment, dude, it is at the foot of Heinzike. But in the mad scramble there, the ball squirts away, and the Toluca keeper is able to cover it on the sideline. And then long ball from Toluca bounces once with a player clearly offside in the 7th minute of stoppage, right? We've gone a little bit over here from all the antics in stoppage, and Heinzike sees that guy clearly offside, relaxes, but the opponent as a whole doesn't, and specifically Diaz here just sprints right past Brendan Heinzike, so he's in on Stuver, puts it in for the second goal. And to be honest, the shove from Heinzike on the finish probably should have been a yellow at just blatant shove in the back while he's shooting, but fucking what? It's not a yellow last night, apparently. So final whistle blows, but that's not the end of the action, because after the whistle, you got Davey out there shaking officials' hands, just ripping them at the same time, and Biru as well. And then he interrupts his yelling to shake hands with opponents, and he ends up getting a red card after the match, and then immediately trading jerseys with Helinho. And Stuver, a little bit more calm, but he's walking off with all 4 officials having a passionate conversation. Like Ramirez is standing there as Brad's consigliere. It was just all kinds of craziness. And whenever there's this type of bullshit going on after the whistle, the officials probably had a bad night, and they certainly did.
They did have a bad night. They didn't lose Austin this game.
I agree.
They were piss fucking poor, and I'm glad that they got reamed out by multiple people after this game. They were terrible. Toluca, very good team. Austin, as I've said, I will continue to stand on this. Great fight. Hell of a fight. And can we keep this edge going into the rest of this MLS season? Because I think if you keep this edge and this level of ferocity that we saw last night and this unwillingness to back down from opponents, you can try to crawl your way back, and just as distant as it may seem. But this was just a fun, kind of entertaining, wild soccer game. And that second goal is a trash goal. Obviously, BHI at the point of almost exhaustion. I can't get upset with him here. Just maybe, get suspended too. Shove this dude with 2 hands and let's just call it a day. But tough one, man. And just tough. Bummer.
34% possession for Austin at the end of this one. It was 26 shots to 8 in favor of Toluca, and 8 shots on target to 0 also in favor of Toluca. But Austin, 8 corner kicks to Toluca's 6. Touches in the opponent's penalty area, 33-14 in favor of Toluca. Brad Stuver made 7 saves on the night. The Patreon game score from our Discord members there at 2.71. And I don't know, man, we've gone 7 games now where 2.13 is the lowest game score in that 7-game stretch. We are in, by far, the best run of form of this team in 2026. And I think that's encouraging, even as we don't have much to be hopeful for between now and the offseason.
Yeah, I agree. I think I put a 4 for this game. I do. You had to play this way to have a shot versus this team. And, the old cliche saying that, one player doesn't lose a game, doesn't, cost you the whole game. But it's hard to look at Joseph Rosales today and not expect, I think, an apology to the players in the locker room. You just really screwed the other guys over.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Would not be surprised if that's going on behind closed doors. Some of the Davey comments, man, think we're all on the same page. Said, I'm really proud of the guys. Said he's probably the most proud that I've ever been in this group. continuing on, saying to go down a man and respond the way that we did. If that doesn't give you pride in being a part of Austin FC and as a fan, he said it was a big test. They responded in a great way, and it makes me excited for the rest of the year. So, like, maybe taking stock, too, of where we're at now, because you bow out of Leagues Cup. And I guess before we look forward, Leagues Cup as a whole, man, we've been in the competition 3 times now and advanced to the knockout rounds twice.
Yeah.
We still have, I believe now it's a 500 record against Liga MX's opponents. If not, we are still a game to the good there. We definitely don't have a losing record. And like, I know we have next step is win a knockout game in that competition. And you probably have to wait at least 2 years to get back, because you're probably going to have to make the playoffs here this year to get into the next edition of this tournament. But just looking back, man, this team has come a long way in the various editions that we've seen of this roster play in Leagues Cup. But like, to make the knockouts 2 years in a row with the rosters and the opponents that we had and faced in the last 2 times, like, we're a long way from crashing out against fucking Juarez and Mazatlan, dude.
Absolutely. And maybe we could get a knockout round where we can actually fucking play at home when we win our group or go undefeated. I am very proud of the fight, and please continue this. Keep that edge. Keep that nasty streak. Let's be the dickheads. Let's be the heels, who are just trying to find a way to get to that playoff line. Man. Well, shout out Davey, man. I've given Davey shit. I was proud of him last night too. Stood up for his dudes through and through. Gave those refs the business, which was deserved, and I think he made the right decisions in regard to the game plan and the substitutions.
Well, the guys who are still here on this roster, man, I think it would be hard to argue against the idea that Davey and his staff has the remaining guys bought into what we're trying to do to try to salvage some things here down the stretch. And speaking of the stretch here, of course, MLS regular season the rest of the way. 13 games to play, and we are 7 points back of that wild card line, but 7 home, 6 away remaining on the schedule here. And with us going away to Portland this weekend, after this, if you can get any sort of result here, you barely keep yourself on life support with a draw, and 3 points would go a long way to starting to give you that inkling of belief, at least for 6 days before we welcome San Jose the following weekend. And then again, with the final 12 games after this weekend, 7 at home, just 5 away. We don't have to talk about some of the opponents that are coming to town, Nashville. It's going to be a lot tougher than just, hey, we got home games, we're going to win those. But this is the focus now. And like crazy, like we said with a lot of times when we've been down this year, dude, crazier things have happened.
Yeah, 7 points isn't impossible. This is an impossible task. It's unlikely and probably improbable, but you can do this. And DPs are going to need to step up. Brandon Vasquez, Facu Torres, get it together. Okay, you're coming off the injury, the rust, whatever. There's some moments last night where I don't know what the fuck you're doing out there, right? Facu, you're clearly better than what you're playing as right now. And we're going to need you down this stretch. And, those guys, when they're the highest paid players, you have that fucking tag on your name. The expectation is different. Them's the rules. And those dudes need to step up. And again, if we can keep this nasty streak alive, I like our chances in some games here. There's obviously a lot of teams that are better than us, and we're not going to be nearly as deep as we were just for the majority of the season with the departures now. But you got to see this way through. You're not going to get these 13 games back no matter what. So fuck it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, we're going for it Saturday night, 9:30 p.m. kickoff set at Providence Park out there in Portland. I am on the written preview here at the northendpodcast.com for this one, so I'll get us started. Our first time seeing the Timbers here in 2026, so we'll do the quick historical deep dive on Portland. They began MLS play in 2011 as an expansion franchise, but they've always had Providence Park as their home stadium. Providence Park is one of the oldest grounds in the United States. It has existed since 1893 and as a complete stadium since 1926, and it is the oldest soccer-specific stadium in Major League Soccer. Majority owner is Merritt Paulson. Paulson also established the Portland Thorns women's team back in 2012. Timbers are another one of those Phoenix clubs, right? So in the Timbers case, they are the fourth soccer-based franchise in Portland to carry the Timbers name. And that Timbers tag originated with the NASL team that played in that league from 1975 to 1982. And the support in Portland, man, I think rivals any MLS club. I don't know how Austin FC coded this is or not, but they sold out every home game from their MLS expansion season all the way up until the COVID pandemic. And Timbers Army is well respected around the league, at least from what I can tell. And they have the Cascadia Cup up there. It's their Copa Tejas. It's between the Timbers, Seattle, and Vancouver. The Timbers had a ton of success, especially in the first decade in the league. They have one MLS Cup title. That was in 2015, but they've made the game two additional times, as finishing as runners-up in the league in 2018 and 2021. And in two other years, 2013 and 2017, they finished as the top seed in the Western Conference, and Portland also won the MLS's back tournament during the COVID pandemic in 2020. But they have not finished higher than 8th in the West since 2021. Prior to that, they had made the playoffs 5 straight seasons. So it is a period, a little bit of a downturn here over the last couple years for this franchise.
But like you said, such a respected and storied franchise here in MLS. I love their fan base. I love the atmosphere of their stadium. They routinely have players that I am a big fan of. They got some guys on this team now that I really like as well. And I mean, I remember watching Timbers games when I was younger, when I was just lowercase e. And they were just so fun. And like it made me, appreciate this league a little more. This is a team that we've been consistently, I feel like, tied to, battling with in those same tiers of the Western Conference. Like, are you going to be able to sneak into the playoffs? What have you? They're going through some changes as well, though, with their personnel.
Yeah, absolutely. And dude, it's not just the player personnel. It's also at head coach, because Phil Neville was fired back right before the World Cup break in May. Jack Cassidy, who was the Timbers 2 coach in Next Pro, he was elevated to interim status after Neville's departure. And Cassidy's first game as an interim, dude, 5-1 win over Seattle at Lumen Field. So how's that a start for your interim coaching track there? They also beat the Sounders again a couple weeks later, and his only loss as interim was to Club America in Leagues Cup Phase 1. But the team hired Marty Cifuentes as their new head coach on July 21st. Pretty impressive resume here for Coach Cifuentes. Most recently was the head man for Leicester City in the championship. Prior to that, he was the head coach of QPR, also in the championship, has coaching experience at Hammarby in Sweden, Aalborg in Denmark, and Sandefjord in Norway. Coach Cifuentes began professionally coaching at age 20, primarily beginning his career in the youth development and academy roles, and he took over officially in Portland at the conclusion of Leagues Cup Phase 1 a couple weeks ago. So the changes on the bench, changes in their player personnel, and we can pull up the roster sheet here from the league here on the Timbers. This is a 2-4 GAM build, and some of the players out last offseason. Maxime Crépeau went to Orlando in free agency. Not a huge loss for them considering the way he played last year, replaced by James Pantemis, I want to say like a third of the way through the season. But they also traded midfielder David Ayala to Inter Miami for up to $2.15 million. And longtime Timbers midfielder Christian Paredes went back to play in his native Paraguay after 8 years with the Timbers. They opened a DP slot, sending out Cabecita, Jonathan Rodriguez, who was injured all of last year, but still taking up one of those DP slots. And Dario Zuparic, the Croatian center back, also left after 182 appearances with Portland. kind of moves around the fringes, but some significant names also came in the offseason. Cole Bassett, the dynamic midfielder, longtime Colorado Rapids player, was acquired in the offseason, along with longtime New England Revolution fullback Brandon Bai, who signed in free agency after 8 years with the Revs. So like I mentioned, it is a 2-4 build this season, but they've done a decent amount of work here in this secondary window as well. U22 Kevin Kelsey was just sold this week. He was their leading scorer at 9 goals, 4 assists in his 20 appearances, but just 15 starts. So you can see how productive Kelsey was, and also lost longtime forward Felipe Mora early in the window. He's now with Atletico San Luis in Liga MX. He was third on the team in scoring with 4 goals and an assist in his 13 appearances, but just 5 starts. They did bring in multi-time Austin FC rumor guy Vincent Janssen. Now their starting striker, was most recently with Royal Antwerp in Belgium, but when he was in our rumors back in 21-22, he was playing with Rayados down south of the border. So some other players to watch here. You got to start with the 2 DPs at the top. You've got Christopher Veld, 26-year-old Norwegian winger. Where's number 99? And when he came in last year, man, hit the ground running. I don't know if it was the 99 or his play, but my impression between the seasons of Veld, and you could see it with how many times I drafted him in best ball before the season, was he's just like Bud Light Bouanga. So like he's 5 goals, 9 assists across his 20 league appearances this year. I learned yesterday that he is half Argentine, so he's nicknamed Veldinho.
Nice.
That's the only time I'm going to call him that. I like Bud Light Bouanga better, but dude, Christopher Veld is a guy I would love to have on my team. The energy he brings and the personality, the leadership that I glean from watching these Timbers matches and watching Veld play. I like him a lot, and he's a huge threat.
Yeah, no, I like him a lot as well. And the things that you talked about there, the intangibles, he's got one of those kind of nasty dog streaks in him, and he's going out there and he's looking to embarrass you and he's looking to score. So I'm a big fan of him. I thought the Cole Bassett get was really nice. Obviously getting that money that you just got there for Kevin Kelsey is great for the building, the future
potentially CJ versus Kevin Kelsey on Wednesday.
Rangers
versus Falkirk.
that'd be fucking cool. And like this Portland team, right? Like you look at their team stats as a whole, and there's just some really interesting things going on with them. Like only 1 clean sheet all season long, but they're also second in saves per game, you know, in the league, which is just kind of weird to me. Obviously, they've given up 37 goals this time so far this season, but to only have 1 clean sheet is wild. They generate a lot of big chances. I think top 5 in the league right now in that regard, and then they're tied with us atop MLS with 11 set piece goals. So they're also converting on that kind of stuff, just finding ways to score and generate opportunities. But if you look at some of their, you know, overall team stats for the majority of the season, it's a weird and kind of interesting story right in the middle of the pack there in regard to your possession. Top 10 in goals per game. Like this is a fun, exciting team that gets out and goes. And they got the guys to do that. I like DaCosta in the middle. I know he hasn't been this kind of world beater that we might have anticipated when we saw him the first time last year with Portland, but he can really make some stuff happen, and he has a bit of a special streak in him where it's just like, oh, I didn't know you had that in your bag there. Look at you. But this team has been hot as of late, like you brought up with some of the victories they've had, convincing wins, as well as stringing along some impressive results to push them up into that 9 seed right now. And this would go about as long of a way as it could go if you're Austin to beat this team at home and take 3 points off of them. You'd be looking at a whole completely different story if you're able to do that here, if you're Austin FC.
Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed out those stats, because the one that stuck out to me, on top of the ones that you already pointed out, right, the 1 clean sheet was kind of surprising to me with the saves number, but you mentioned 7th in goals per game in MLS so far this season, but they're just 20th in XG. So this team is wildly overperforming their expected goals right now, and they're 21st in goals allowed, but 25th in expected goals against. So they're getting a little bit lucky at the very least on both sides of the ball in terms of their underlying numbers, and also bouncing back to Dakota, like you mentioned, right? He's a 25-year-old Portuguese attacking midfielder, and he's like with the team rounding into form, dude. It is a large part due to him, in my opinion. 3 goals, 7 assists in his 18 appearances. All of them starts so far this year. Came over prior to last season after spending his entire youth and pro career previously with RC Lens in France. And his first goal contribution, if I recall correctly, was his bullshit free kick goal against us that just bounced into the net. 1-0 victory, like 89th minute. That was a painful fucking week 2 loss last year.
Yeah, that was rough. I still have vivid memories of that. Just such a weird ball that Stuber doesn't know what to do with, and it just bounces in the net. But to your point, if he's humming, this is going to be a much better team than they have been all season long, because he makes a lot of people around him better. And you have that nasty little pairing with him and Velda over there that is formidable, man. Those are 2 very talented players in this league.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's Veld, Bassett, DaCosta providing almost all of the creation here. 21 of the team's 43 assists from players on the current active roster come from those 3 players. Diego Chara is still here, dude. More of a reserve at this point in his career. Just 9 starts on the year for the Colombian. But, dude, like, to put his tenure and longevity into North End terms, he signed with the Timbers originally in 2011. When he first signed with this team, LeBron had no rings. That's how long this guy has been with the Timbers. That's crazy.
It's nuts, dude. I mean, 500 appearances, right, for them. He's 40 years old at this point in time. Like, an absolute legend. When I was talking about some of the players that I really like from this team and the franchise as a whole, he's at the top of the list. I love the guy. He's just a hooper. He's a gamer. He's just out there doing it all the time. And it's awesome to see. I really respect him a lot.
On that back line, you got to look out for Finn Sermon, usually paired with Kamal Miller back there. But Sermon was New Zealand national team at the World Cup, paired with Mike Boxall there. All-time head-to-head between these 2 teams. Always have fond memories of the Timbers, because we got our first ever home goal, first ever home win against them back in July 21, and then we beat the shit out of them again at home 2 months later. Thank you, Steve Blake. But it's been all Steve Blake. Did I messed that name up, didn't I? Steve Clark. Steve Blake.
Oh,
you didn't even correct me.
No, I know. Just started punching people.
It's been all Portland since those first 2 wins, man. All time, it's 3 wins, 2 draws, 6 losses for Austin FC. And Austin has only scored 3 goals in the 5 all-time trips to Providence Park. We did sneak a 1-0 win there in October 2024 off a deflected Danny Pereira shot. But man, it's about time to start turning the tide against these Timbers, because I mean, dude, we've had 1 win since 2021 against them, and it was that deflected Danny goal. Like, it has not been great when they show up. And like, for a couple years there, that was in large part due to Evander being the best player on the field.
Yeah, for sure. God. No, we got to switch it up here, and this would be as good a time as ever to do just that.
So talking about us here, is surely going to be some rotation, like a couple guys that didn't play last night that I think we're not upset to see get into this lineup tomorrow. Can Mikael Dessler go 60-plus here? I would love that. I'm not hating a Djordjevic or a John Bell start there on that back line. I think I will stop short of advocating for a Jean Kolmanich start here, but I would also expect both of those DPs who rode the pine yesterday to get back in there. Probably getting Irvin Torres to slot back into that defensive midfield after he was subbed off. I'm not sure, but also, I guess my last thought here, maybe you get a Zuni arrest, but we're also staring down the barrel of our first kind of full week, so to speak, here, because you bow out a Leagues Cup, no midweek game next week. So, like, look, man, it is 90 more minutes of this grind. This team just played 10 matches in 36 days and turn around and play another one here on Saturday. You got to grind out this 90 minutes and find a result, man, and then you can finally take a breather and rest a few days.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm all eyes on me on Brandon Vasquez and Facu Torres. Both of them should start this game, and you have to find a way to make an impact. You have to. Like, we need it so desperately. And to your point, like, the amount of games this team has had to play, the fight, the battle that these dudes have been going through, you'll probably see some rotation, but we need guys at the top of the roster to perform. And you look like we talked about, this team one clean sheet all season. You're gonna have some opportunities to score versus them. This game can get open. Tough place to play, but like BV's been there before. You know, we've seen Facu in difficult situations at MLS. You guys got to step up for us.
I'm with you, man. So unless you have anything else to add here, how much is Austin FC winning by on Saturday night?
Look, I am bought in on the potential momentum that you could pull from this Toluca game and the anger that you can kind of use as a motivator for the guys to be like, look, we just got jobbed here. Like, let's go take it out on these dudes. So I'm going to go 2-1 upset victory here on the road. Goes a long way for your playoff hopes.
Yeah. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. I was considering maybe the classic 1-0, but I feel like we're kind of past that, man. Like, so yeah. I got a 2-1. He's got a 2-1. Look, we do not care how you get it done, boys. Bringing us back 3 points will go a long way.
Come on down to Farmer Field where the champions play. Get ready for the game. It's last business day.
Last business day here on episode 329 of the North End Podcast. One piece of news at the top here. Next Pro announcing this morning on Thursday that there will indeed be a sprint season for MLS Next Pro, as that league also, of course, aligns with the schedule change being made by MLS. So in typical Next Pro fashion, not a ton of information out there until the last possible moment, and then boom, they hit you with the press release. So Next Pro aligning with MLS in terms of the schedule change. Just wanted to get that on everybody's radar as we talk about the Sunday night match. We talked about that lineup when it came out late in Sunday's episode, but we'll talk through this match just to remind everybody, right? Charlie was back in net. No Micah Burton in this one, and Ibrahim Asal got the start up top, flanked by Dobrivic and Abarca.
Yeah, I mean, I like the lineup, man, for sure. And I don't know if you can go wrong. I don't know if there's a wrong answer with this club right now in regard to who you're throwing out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's my bad not looking at the screen here, catching you in the middle of a yawn there. So the most of this first half was a yawn, dude, because like you get a yellow card to Regigopol from the Quakes. Late challenge on Roussel there, and like that one looked like it probably hurt for real. Mm-hmm. Like there was at least one big Austin chance in that first half, but weren't able to put anything in the back of the net. So we jump to the second frame where first sub of the night for Austin is Eric Feliciano coming in for Saul. So you're pushing the red hot Stefan Dobrivic there back to the 9, and 63rd minute. Is that Phil Dujic? 70th minute triple. So easy, procedural yellows there. Triple change for Austin in the 70th minute with Kayeli, Hott, and Gonzalez coming in for De Bruyne, Roussel, and Ayala. 73rd minute, Austin camped in the Quakes' end here. They briefly work it back to Charlie Farah for a touch before progressing quickly down the left from Barry to Feliciano, and Eric drives forward before that ball's jarred loose by the Quakes defender, pinging off what looked like 3 guys before ending up at the foot of Pat Kayeli, who's overlapping even wider on the left. And Pat's on the run at the edge of the 18, so after one touch, Kayeli zips across the face of net. Dobrivic lets it run through. 2 Quakes defenders in the area can't get a touch, so this ball just bounces right to a wide-open Diego Abarca on the back post for the opening goal. His hot streak continues. Kayeli also in a nice run of form himself, and it's 1-0 Austin.
I mean, this is an awesome play. Can we please sign Eric Feliciano to a homegrown as soon as possible?
Lock him up.
Well, please. And like you get this ball into a dangerous zone here, a nice little flick on, and then there's your goal right there, 1-0. It wasn't like this Earthquakes team showed anything really too formidable that you're going to have to deal with, man. This team is really running away with this Western Conference, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, 3 yellow cards in quick succession here. 78th minute to Dossman from the Quakes for dissent. 2 minutes later to Mendoza from the Quakes, pulling back on Adrian Gonzalez on an Austin breakaway attempt. And then the 84th, a yellow card to Jaka Barrow. For a hard foul on a Quakes players, they came together. Jaka came there late, decided to lay the wood, got his money's worth on that one. Second minute of stoppage, you get Vlad Danchutu in for a Barca, so you push Dobrivic out to the wing to close things out, and close things out they did. Austin FC 2 with another victory, a 1-0 here over the Quakes at home. So we can go ahead, pull up the table, and also start talking about this weekend's matchup E, because it is a double weekend here. Austin FC 2 also on the road to take on Portland up there in the Pacific Northwest. Timbers 2, Austin FC 2, 3 p.m. this Sunday. All-time head-to-head between these two. 2 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss for Austin FC 2. But before I go on too far, E, pulling up the table, your thoughts on Sunday's victory?
I mean, a job well done. You dealt with 1 shot on target, dominated that game, and now you got this really awesome game here looming with the second-place team in the Western Conference who has surpassed that Dynamo club that we know is very talented, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah, man, I'm glad I remembered there to bring up the table, because it is the 1 seed against the 2 seed here on Sunday. So, look, if you haven't watched the second team all year, this is one to tune in for.
Yeah.
Like, this is a true test here at the top of the table. It's the first time these two teams have met this season. So far, Timbers 2 on the year, 13 wins, 7 draws, 4 losses, 33 goals for, and 26 conceded. It's the lowest goals for of the teams that are in the playoff positions currently in the West. But they're doing it on the defensive end, 3rd best in goals conceded, behind only Austin and Houston 2, who are 1st and 3rd, respectively, in the West. Currently, Timbers 2 on a great run of form, unbeaten in their last 8 games, dating back to June 27th. Some players to watch here if you tune in on Sunday. Number 47, Daniel Cervantes, is a 23-year-old Mexican forward, 10 goals in his 24 appearances, 20 of them being starts, Number 73, 18-year-old midfielder Eric Izoita has 6 goals, 3 assists in his 23 appearances. Number 37 is 19-year-old midfielder Noah Santos, 3 goals, 2 assists in his 18 appearances, just 14 starts. And then 35, midfielder Lucas Fernandez Kim, is a 22-year-old originally from California. Now with Timbers 2 goals, 5 assists in his 20 appearances. It is a very strong midfield here for Timbers 2. And again, overall, their defense is top tier. Still a beatable team, as you see Austin FC 2 equal on games played now with Timbers 2, 6-point lead here. So this is the Timbers essential last gasp for making a push to that 1 seed. And it's Austin's chance to put their foot on the throat of the rest of the Western Conference and get just inches away from locking up that number 1 seed and the right to choose their first round opponent in the playoffs, which they have already clinched a berth for. And you love to see in 3rd place, Dynados drawing, clicking off there on accident, drawing St. Louis City 2. So 2 draws in a row coming off a loss for Dynados. So, like, we've almost put them in the rear view as well.
Yeah, you have a real opportunity to put almost insurmountable separation between yourself and the rest of the field here if you can go ahead and get the job done, which I do think they should be able to do. You mentioned this is a talented midfield, a good club, but I think we're better.
I agree. I think the only 2 things I have on this potential lineup rather, what happens in net? Is there an injury to Lauta? Right, we saw him at the stadium a few days back, but Charlie's got 2 starts in the last 3, if I recall correctly. And the last thing, I want to see a Feliciano start, which is pretty much a constant game in and game out for me. Anything else for you on this one, E? If not, tell me how much FCito is winning by on Sunday afternoon.
I think you really show your class here and you take care of this Portland Timbers 2 team 2-0, and just really solidify yourself as the top dogs here in the Western Conference.
Nice. I like it. I will go 1-0, but as always, we do not care how you get it done, boys. This would be a huge 3 points. So, E, let's talk some nonsense here to close out episode
been a minute.
329. We'll go ahead and talk about the picks. We have, I want to say, 4 weeks to recap here. We had a nice little small win streak going. Week 19 plus 2.42 at the books. Week 20 plus 1.7. We gave back 2.15 units in week 21. Then over the weekend, our worst week at the books in a while, negative 4.98 units. But we did bring back the pick'ems here. We have shifted from underdog as they got out of the MLS prop game, shifted over to Prize Picks. So you can continue to play pick'ems with us here in the North End if you so choose. And those have gone well so far. Haven't missed yet, E. So on the year, plus 7.06 units at the books so far. Need to get that number back into double digits to feel comfortable, but now plus 3.13 on the pick'em sites as well. So, positive numbers on both sides. It's hard to argue with that.
For sure, particularly after the start of this season where we had to dig ourselves out of the deepest hole. But man, we have fun. We get some jelly beans out there.
Yeah, we get after it here in the North End, E. So let's talk best ball before we say goodbye. And this is, of course, the Verde Best Ball League we're talking about first here with our other independent media brethren. In week 20, it was Moon Tower earning a much-needed victory down there in 6th place, 60 points in week 20, followed up by a 50 from Verde All Day. So this was a tightening of the table. We lost 7 points in the chase to try to catch We Are Austin TV, and it didn't go much better for us in week 21 of Best Ball E. Soccer-wise gets the dub in week 21 over the weekend. 60 points does put them into a third-place tie with the Verde Pendant, and both of those teams are now just 14 points back of us in second with our 31 in week 21 E. We Are Austin putting 12 points between them and us in that widening again gulf between first and the field, and very respectable 56 and 45 respectively for Verde All Day and Moon Tower. Look, Verde All Day may be in 5th down there, dude, but they are a strong week away from maybe even being in 2nd. This is a very competitive race still with 12-ish weeks left in the best ball season.
Yeah, this is going to come down to the wire as it always does, and we say every year.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So we will check in on our Patreon leagues here, E. Pulling up our Best Ball app, we can get some zooms, and we'll start with the Sentimiento League. 2 weeks to discuss here. Week 20 went to TJ there with a 56. I'm actually not sure if we talked week 19. I do want to point out that Brian's streak finally ended after 6 straight victories. Wild. A new record set by B, who is still sitting in 2nd place there in the Sentimiento League. But in week 21, Mace gets his first weekly win since week 2 with a massive 65. Coming back from that Germany trip, Mace getting the dub, and that's your Sentimiento League standings. E?
I mean, that run by Brian, holy smokes.
Yep.
Crazy.
And I'm glad it's over. So
yeah.
We can stop talking about it. We're into the Heartbeat League here, E, where Pete still in first, but it's Mike Crignola up into 2nd and just 3 points back of Peach now, because Mike is on a streak of his own. He's won 3 straight weeks in the Heartbeat League and 4 of the last 5. So Mike Crignola making a huge charge up the leaderboard, E, and we don't have to point out where I'm sitting in the table. We'll just say fading fast is the G's team as we move on to the Rooted League, where Jones still has the lead at the top, but E back into 2nd, followed by Trevor. But it has been not any of the 3 of you as it was for 3 straight months. The last 3 weeks, man, 3 different victors here. Logan Okwah grabbing the victory in week 19. Then it was TJ Jonesy grabbing his first weekly win of the season in week 20, and Aggie grabbing his first weekly win of the season here in week 21. So things still, of course, all up in the air. We check in on the Premier League race. It is Jones still at the top with a healthy 42-point lead on the field. E 2nd, Trevor 3rd. If the season ended today, the Premier League would be those 3, followed by Peach, Mike, Tej, Brian, and Ari's sneaking back in there. First 4 out, Josh, Logan, Aaron up into the top 12. And ZG, like I said, fading fast. We need some big scores here at the end of August to try to stay attached to that top 8, man. If I don't make the Premier League, I'm going to cry.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about last night. I was like, God damn, I can feel my grip slipping a little bit here too with what's happened with my roster.
Okay, you're in 2nd.
Oh, I was way out in front of everyone for a minute there. But yeah, dude, got to make the fight. We'll cancel the pod if we're not in the Premier League next year, man.
Oh, man. That's enough nonsense here for our Thursday. Anything else for you before we shut it down?
Hey, proud of you boys last night, for real. Didn't go our way. Some boneheaded decisions, but proud of the fight. Way to go. Come on, build something off of it.
Yep. I'm with you, E. So we appreciate all of you tuning in, sticking with us here in episode 329 of the North End Podcast, especially after such a live stream and news-heavy week. We will be back on Sunday after our fantasy football draft. So if the episode comes out a little later in the evening, don't hold it against us. But we're back on Sunday recapping that road trip out to Portland. I assume we will have a final out there from the FCTO match as well. So we are likely recapping second team's battle against the second seeded Timbers 2. And of course, talking about everything that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. We'll do the same, and we'll see you back here on Sunday for another episode. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.